Yo, how's it going? This is Masamoon, and today what I want to do is go over two things. One, I want to review the new Triage skin, and two, I want to actually go over the Cradle system from two perspectives. One of when you're starting out as Triage, as more of a combat medic, and two, from the standpoint of you've been playing for a while and you've been putting points in and stuff like that, like what's going to actually help you. So these are just my opinion, and I think it would be really, beneficial for us to go through it and have a conversation. If there's anything you think I left out, please leave a comment below. Or if you think I'm incorrect on something, go for it. Let's just help each other out and make it more fun. Timestamps are below if you want to skip to the Cradle system recommendations for Triage, but here we go. Kicking things off, the new skin is called Astrophage, and you can find it in the store, and it's really cool. It has a new background. Triage finally has a second background, whereas before actually the only other skin that had a background was the Overdrive skin for the shell, and it's pretty cool too. It's pretty much, it was my second favorite skin other than the cryo skin. It is still kind of disappointing that they have not actually provided a background for the cryo skins. I think that's kind of a miss. I hope that they end up doing that soon, just to keep things pretty consistent with purple tier skins. I think that'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, it is kind of a new favorite for me, this new one, the Astrophage. The old skins for Triage, they kind of just they were okay, other than Cryo and Overdrive, but this one definitely steps it up quite a bit. Like I said before, or what I was thinking is, I think it's really cool that there's sort of a astronomy look, where you can see kind of like constellations on his arm. I think that's pretty cool. He kind of seems more of like a combat medic that you would see on the colony during their travels, like while they're exploring or while they're in transit, which is kind of interesting because most people were in cryo sleep, but from what I've gathered. But another thing I really appreciate is the kind of like, he kind of looks like he has dreadlocks, but also at the same time it looks like he's taking inspiration from like nurses, I guess. But honestly, I just really enjoy the look. I think it's cool. And so what's interesting is there's actually descriptions next to the skins, and they're pretty neat. I'll let you read it, but it just starts out pretty cool. The universe will be consumed, and so we chart its byways upon our synthetic selves to harness the cosmic tides within the living fabric of our cybernetic existence. That's really cool. I'm not sure what it means, but it sounds pretty awesome. One thing that I notice as sort of a Destiny fan is the star in the center kind of reminds me of Braytech, the Braytech logo from the family that was responsible for developing Exos in the Destiny universe, which basically allowed for transferring a consciousness into sort of like a shell. There's a lot of parallels between Braytech and Sakaguchi, and I might actually do a video on that later. I did actually pull some things together. A couple of other things is we got a new background, orbital loop, and then we got a new icon called Planetary Center. That's pretty cool. Yeah, all in all, I really like the skins. I think everyone is kind of collectively saying like we appreciate the direction that the skins are going. I decided to stick with the cyanosis knife. I know a lot of people are rocking the Yokai's Purpose, which is really awesome, and the Vox. But I think that now this cyanosis actually just fits really well with the aesthetic of the new Astrophage skin for Triage. So yeah, all in all, pretty cool skin. I think it's awesome. I hope they keep it coming. Anytime there's another skin, I'll probably review it. But I love the added, like, you can see on his shoulder pad there, like it looks like he has some like extra tech there for recovery. Another thing that you'll notice is on his face, he has these like lights blinking, which are pretty cool. I'm not sure like the practicality of it. I've been trying to like think about what the practicality of some of the things are. Like, for instance, on his shoulder, there's this like cable, and the cable is what he uses in order to hack into the computers during like missions. So like you could imagine him like snapping that cable from his shoulder and then plugging it into a computer right as he's about to hack it. So but yeah, anyway, I think that super cool skin. I hope they keep it coming, and I look forward to the next one. I can't wait for us to get a gold Triage skin. If this is a purple tier, then I'm super excited for a gold tier. But let me know what you think about it, and let's move on to the second part of this video, which is actually the Cradle system for Triage. All right, so for the second half of this video, what I want to do is actually review how I actually decided to customize the Cradle for myself when using Triage as a main. And if we've got some time, I'll talk about how I set up the Cradle for the other two runners I like to use, which are Recon and Sentinel. So let's look at Triage. I reset everything on purpose so that we can kind of go through this fresh. Now, I think that first it's good to note that I'm not the highest, so I'm probably like a little bit above average. Like, I've had a lot of golds in my vault already. I've done a lot of successful cryo runs and things like that this season, but I didn't get a chance to grind out the PvE stuff earlier on in the season when there were sort of exploits, so that's worth noting. So, but anyway, in terms of how to prioritize this, these are just my opinions. Endurance is the number one thing for Triage that he's lacking. So, when starting out, I think for a long time, I only went up to this first node, which helps with your generated heat recovering quicker. And then heat recovery begins more quickly. Yeah, I mean, it's really just like your heat and just your endurance. You just have like a lot more endurance to just run. And I think that for Triage, this is really underrated. And I think that some people are still kind of misusing Triage. Like, they're staying back and they're looting, or they're just like not up there with their buddies because they think that, they're doing their job by, putting drones on people. That's not it. Like, combat medic is what you should be aspiring to be, which means that you're able to keep up with your teammates and the faster runners out there. So I digress. Like, the first thing I worked on was having at least up to the second node, and then the next thing, you don't want to neglect your drones, you want to spam them. So getting up to this first node here, you start each run with a portion of your tactical ability charged. I think this is great. And, recharge starts to give you that prime recovery, boost, and tactical recovery boost. Those are super, super important. So when it comes to like early stages of playing with Triage, these are, this is where I like to start. Then I'd say, you got to focus on yourself a bit first. And so resistance is probably going to be the next one you want to kind of focus on, which is going to help you with that self-repair speed. And some of these nodes, I don't think it's this first one. Yeah, bleeding out more. Yeah, it's not going to be until like this one. No, not even. It's the last one. Yeah, your medical consumables, they take less time to use. I think that this is huge right here, because really just like also the stats that you're building up, you want to be able to heal yourself really quickly, and you want to also be able to use your consumables really quickly. Whether or not they help out with your teammates, I haven't tested that yet. So like when you have drones on people and you're using your shareware EXE, I'm not sure if this helps with the speed for them as well, but at least I think you should be working on getting this stat up in the early stages pretty high, because you want to be able to recover yourself really quickly. You stay alive, that means that your team has a higher chance of staying alive. So the priority goes like this, like just recapping at this point. Endurance, because you want to be able to keep up with your teammates. You want to be right there in the fray with them and shooting with them to help them out. So you're not leaving your teammates to always be in a 1v1. You want them to be in 2v1s or 2v2s, 3v1s. You know, that's what you want. So endurance is important. And then I would say recharge at least the first node. It doesn't matter like maybe what you do first. You know, you may want to get to this first node first, then, you know, get your endurance all the way up. But I think you'll have a better time, you'll have funner time playing the game if you work on getting your endurance up. So work on endurance. Then you want to lastly start working on resistance. Not lastly, the next thing you want to work on, because, you know, getting around here is really great for resistance and getting your repair speed up, so you're able to take care of yourself. But next, you want to start getting your revive speed up. I think that this is huge for Triage, because yes, you have your ultimate and you're going to be able to, you know, get them up faster. This is just my personal perspective, and I've, you know, been able to utilize this really, really well in combat. Reviving people faster is really, really, really helpful, especially when you don't have that super anymore, or maybe you used it aggressively. And now you have to recover your teammates before another team comes at you and you're in cryo archive or something. So not just the revive speed, note that the ping duration, you know, is being increased here. I think this is pretty huge for recon mains out there, or just recon, playing recon in general. So this is really helpful, just because they stay pinged for a while. But, you know, staying on track with Triage, let's talk about these nodes really quick. So like, yes, the TAD, you know, that plays into recon, but also just being a support player. Like, hey, I'm gonna go hit the TAD, even though you probably shouldn't be the one that hits the TAD. But then you have another node here, which is reviving a crewmate restores a portion of your health and health over time. Now this and this last node here increase the amount of health you and your downed allies recover when you do a revive. So when you revive your teammates and they're getting health because of these nodes and they're recovering, this used to be tied to an implant. So this is actually pretty huge. So recovering them means that they're going to get some health. You're going to get some health back. This node wasn't working at some point, this last one. Hopefully that's been fixed by now. When I heard about that, that was like over a week ago. So I hope that that's fixed. But once you know, we review the order here again: endurance, at least a second node, recharge, resistance, I'd probably say at least about here, and then start working on your support and getting that up as high as possible. Maybe to the first node would be great, so that when you're reviving teammates, they're starting to recover their health right away without any consumables. I think this is like the sweet spot of starting out. This is like priority. Now, when you talk about just like as you're starting to get higher and higher, I'm at level 59. You could choose whatever you want beyond this point based on your play style. Me, I'm going to show you what I like to prioritize at this point. Definitely endurance, getting endurance all the way up. I'm not necessarily keen on the last node necessarily, so I didn't prioritize that last node very much. But having that all the way up, recovery speed all the way up is huge. I don't think I worried about this last recovery so much as worrying about the self-repair speed, getting that all the way up as much as possible. And then, combat medic, you want to be upfront with your teammates. You don't want your ability to, heal people passively to, stagnate your skills in combat. Like, you don't want to be, lingering behind your teammates. You want to play cover and you want to play between your teammates. I think that's the key. Shameless plug again, go watch my triage video. I have a masterclass up on how to play with triage, and I mentioned in there briefly when I think it's in the consumables, like a more advanced consumables section. You want to focus really hard on playing in between the other players or literally right behind them. That way you're always there supporting them in combat as well. And so getting to the point, working on the strength here for your melee strength is pretty huge, because you can, you want to have strong melee so you can, hurt people pretty easily. If you don't have a shotgun or something, or someone rushes you or your teammates, if they're killing your teammate and they're right on top of both of you, you want to be able to melee them if you don't have a Mizraya or you don't have, something super close range that's going to be able to take them out. So I think melee is pretty huge. I would go check out Staycation's video for those of you out there that are playing Sentinel, because he mentions that the base stat for strength is higher on Sentinel, so it's easier for you to like actually get all the way up there with Sentinel when it comes to the actual stats. And that's something to note here. So yes, like this is kind of a sweet spot for me too. Dexterity, having agility, being able to move a lot better. And then I'm starting to work on recharge speed again a little bit. And it just depends on how I'm feeling that day for the rest of these nodes. Like, should I put more into melee? Should I put more into dexterity? I kind of like the idea of getting my agility up higher. So I'm thinking that this is probably going to be my next one. If not, it's going to be strength, just because these really do lean into the support portion of triage build. But while I mentioned base stats, don't forget the Cradle system isn't everything. You do need to occasionally go into, your shell. Like when you're building everything up, there's a little area here you can click on it, or if you're on controller, you can just do R2, and it pulls up all of your stats. And one thing I like to do is just see what the base stats are for a given shell without anything on the Cradle. So like if I just take everything off, it's just good to know what the base stats are for certain things already. That will also help you determine what you should probably build into in the beginning stages before you start like maxing out your Cradle potential. So like now I'm going to take a look. And these are the base stats for Triage, right? Revive speed is already at 20, which is incredible. This just like further, you imagine when you get your Cradle up for revive speed. Let me just put this all the way up to the top so we see. So the base stat was 20 for Triage. We go back here, and now it's 75. That's awesome. And so you might wonder, like, how do I get to 100? Well, if you didn't already know, like, there are different items in the game that will, you know, bring your stats up. So if I, you know, close this and put this up and equip this implant here, which gives me 25 repair speed and 25 revive speed. Now you'll see that my revive speed is 100, which is awesome. So those are the types of things that you want to look at when you're you know, looking at your implants, and that will, yeah, see, like even this green one here would have bumped me to 100 for revive speed, which is incredible. Now getting the extras with that's the difference between your gold implants and your purples and stuff like that. It's the amount of stats that you're getting with them. And yeah, sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse. What else did I want to cover here? So, I mean, that basically the implants are much different than they were last season, because a lot of the, you know, secondary things that you would get with a gold implant, they're nodes inside of the Cradle system now. Like, they've just been integrated into nodes. So that's just one thing to note when you're picking things out. It's more about the stats that you get from them, and the single, you know, attribute, you know, is pretty useful too. But yeah, I think that covers everything I wanted to cover. Like I said, you're playing Triage. You want to be more on the combat medic side. You're not just a medic. You're not just there for instant reses and just passive heals. Those are huge. They add up over time, but it's so much more than that. You're here for the consumables. You're here to be another gun, you know, someone else who's shooting a player with your teammate. Super important. And you're also there to be able to sneak up on someone. You want to sneak up on someone and get them with a melee hit. And you want to be able to keep up with your teammates. So those are just really, really huge items. I think I have yapped on more than enough. So thank you for watching. Thank you for watching my Triage Masterclass videos as well, our video as well. If you have any questions or comments or things that I missed, help everyone else out by adding them below in a comment. And if you made it to the end of the video, just I don't know. Yeah, you could give me another I made it. I need to figure something else out. But yeah, I hope that you guys are having fun. I'm looking forward to the changes that are coming soon. With the new PvE, I want to see what that's like. And then I think that they have some opportunity to fix the economy. I know everyone's probably heard that over and over again. But coming from a player who plays this game not as a replacement for a game like Destiny, because it's not a replacement, but more of a replacement for the other games I used to play, intense games like Apex Legends. That's what I used to play, and you know, getting the gunplay and kind of a little bit more depth and build crafting is what I'm here for on Marathon. And so remember that when you're building up your vault and stuff like that, it's to build up your play style. And so, you know, that if it's for triage, that's awesome. You know, what really, you know, makes a triage like really good? How can you really lean into triage's skills? Or how can you make up for the things that triage lacks? I think those are the kind of questions you would ask. And then the same for recon and same for sentinel. And the more you embody those characters, the more fun you'll have playing them. Because you kind of get to like keep that play style across the different runners. So anyway, I will catch you guys later. Thanks for watching and listening to the rant, or the yap, and have a good one.